All right, so share. And as always, let me know if it gets real laggy. All right, so the main assignment for the week. Oh, morning, Charles. Glad you could join us. Doing all right today? All right. Yeah, no worries. As I was saying, the one assignment for this week is this data persistence character sheet. Right? This is very inartistic. I am a programmer after all. This is just how it should be kind of laid out. And if you have some other way of the actual layout's up to you, as long as it makes sense, right? If you want to add more properties other than strength, intelligence, and dexterity, by all means do so, right? But you should have hit points and XP somewhere, and the points left. This is like the character sheet when you create a character and that gives you a certain number of points to allocate to different characteristics, right? And so, and these are the up and down buttons, right? Or this could be plus and minus, up, down, however you want to do it. All right. Point of this is to kind of show you review on the auto layout options in Unity, and to once again reinforce data persistence. All right. So let's create a new project in Unity. I already have Hub open. I'm going to say new, and we'll call this Bivens_T data persistence character sheet. All right, and I'm gonna make sure it's in my 213 folder. There, and this is week 11, believe it or not. Character sheet. And we'll create. We'll make it 3D because once we get into we'll have a submit button. There should be like a submit button here too, but I didn't put it in there. All right, but we'll put it in the actual assignment, right? And when you click submit, it'll take you to the game, and your character will be standing in its 3D environment. I guess if you want to make it 2D, you can. It could be a 2D dungeon crawler kind of thing if you want it to be, right? All right, so it always takes Unity a few seconds to open. So Charles, have you started working on your project? I've already asked them. Yeah, for this class, the final project. Yep. Any questions about that? All right. Just let me know. All right, so we're going to create this, and hopefully it'll look better than this, right? But basically that kind of layout, right? And like I said, once you get the feel for how this auto layout works, if you want to do something slightly different than this, that's fine, right? I said once before that the Unity auto layout works very much like cascading style sheets in web design, right? So if you've ever done any web work with CSS, this will be very familiar. It was modeled directly after that. So if you haven't, then you don't know what I'm talking about anyways. It doesn't matter. All right. Anyway, we're going to start, as I usually do with UIs, creating a panel, right? We go to Game Object, UI, Panel. And here, we call this the Character Creation Panel. And you might ask why I call it Creation Panel, because the Character Panel in-game won't allow you to modify things directly, right? So this is just at the beginning of the game when you have the buttons and everything. So character creation is different than the character display, we'll say. All right, we'll make this completely opaque for now. One of the cool things about panels is that they can just be containers, and you can turn them all the way off and not see them at all, right? And that's very common too. But when you're creating this stuff, sometimes it's helpful to actually see what you're doing, right? All right, so it's the character creation panel. And what we're going to do here is create several different things within inside of this, right? This is going to hold everything else. All right, so when you're creating these layouts, you want to think of in terms of columns and rows, right? And so if you look here, we have HP and XP on the same row, points left. So we basically have 1, 2, 5 different rows, right? So what we need is a panel for each one of those, right? That are children of the character creation panel. All right, so we're going to create another panel. And make that panel a child of the character creation panel. And it might be helpful to change its color. For now, we're just going to kind of change the color just so we can tell what it is, right? All right. Note that it is as large as the other panel. All right. All right, now that we have one panel, we're going to go back up to the character creation panel, and we're going to add a component to it, right? If we want to do auto layout, you have to add a layout component to it, right? I had to get more water. 1 second. Alright. Sorry about that. Alright, so we're going to add component. And get down to UI. And you'll see... no, sorry, it's not UI. It's layout. And they have different groupings, right? You can group things horizontally or vertically. And in this case, since we want rows, they're going to be a vertical layout group. Right? So we're going to say vertical layout group. All right. And that automatically will do something to the panel that we put in there, right? Because if you have a layout group, every item that's a child of that layout group needs to be a layout element. So on the panel itself, we're going to say add component layout. Where is it? Layout element. All right. And then back on the creation panel, we had to say, where is it? All right. You say control child size, width, and height, right? So that the parent actually controls the size of the child, right? That can be a little confusing. I've put a link to, where's that? Oh, I hate that. I put a link to this page in the notes, right? Once you start using these, you'll want to refer to this auto layout guide extensively because it can be quite confusing. There's a lot of different elements you can control, and some of them can seem to conflict with each other, right? So it's good to have a reference that you can refer to at all times. All right. Anyway, so we have one panel, and we need, what did I say, 5, right? That's not it. There. So the easiest way of doing this, and you'll see the power of the auto layout as soon as you do it, we're going to just duplicate that panel, right? So just say Command D, right? And see there's 2, 3, 4, 5. Ta-da. Right, so now you can see there's 5 different panels there. All right, how's the lag doing? Are we good? All right, good. Good luck, buddy.
Yeah. I'll be in the car.
All right. So we have 5 panels. Just waiting for my child to leave. All right. Cool. All right. So the top panel, we're going to have HP and XP, right? And so there's a label, and then there's going to be the actual value, right? So there's actually going to be 4 different things here. All right. The interruptions are amazing. All right. So it's going to be in this panel, right? And at this panel, we're going to have, within this sub panel, right, we need to lay out things horizontally, right? So in here, we're going to actually, while this is a layout element itself, we're going to add another layout, and this is going to be a horizontal layout group. Right? And then inside of this panel, right, we're going to create UI text. And just go ahead and pull that up here onto that panel. In fact, we can call this panel, we call it HPXP. Right? All right. Stop. All right, so let's go ahead. We will let's modify this text to get it like we want, and then we can just duplicate it, right? Do this horizontal layout group. That's good. And let's go ahead and say control child size, width, and height. All right, and then this text here will say 28. Why does it have that on there? It's weird. Let's make it larger still, I think. That's probably fine. All right. And we'll change it to 8 points. Why is it outline like that? That's weird to me. Does your text have an outline in it? That's weird. I don't know why that is. I didn't make it. I don't know. That's weird. Y'all see that, right? The outline of the square outline around that text. What is causing that? Well, I mean, I'm not worried about it too much right now, but that is weird. I have to figure that out. I don't know why that would be like that. I don't see a setting that would. I've never seen that before in my life. Anyway, always something interesting. Anyway, we'll call this HP label, right? And once we have that like we want it, we can duplicate it, and it should. Yes, all right. Let's see, and we'll call this. Oops. We call this XP, and we'll change the text here in a second. Don't know why it's doing that there. That's weird. XP. And probably a colon too. Right? And all right. So we have the HPXP, right? Let's actually we're going to have another text object to which we're actually going to push the value, right? So I'm going to duplicate the HP. And move it there. And just take that out. Well, I'll put 0 to 0 placeholder. I don't know. See, that looks kind of crappy, doesn't it? we could put the label in the, programmatically put the label in the, I think that's a better idea anyway. All right. So what we do in the code, we'll put HP in there, right? And the XP. That makes sense. I think it'll be better to line it up that way. Anyway, let's see. So our panel 2 here, right? We'll put need a text object for that. I don't know why it's doing that. I don't know. It's weird. Let's call this points left panel, right? We need to each one of these, and honestly, if you put the layout element on the panel first, right, and then before you duplicate it, you wouldn't have to do this every time. But I didn't think that far ahead, so I'm paying for it now, right? So there's another horizontal layout group. Yeah. And we'll say points left and 6. Right. That's just weird. I feel like there's something I don't know. I don't get it. All right, so here I'm gonna actually, I'm deleting those two so that I can just do this once and then I can duplicate it, right? Because these lines here will be exactly the same, and once I create one, I'm just going to duplicate it. All right. So let's see, strength label, and then the value, and then 2 buttons, right? All right, and layout, horizontal, that. We're going to have game object UI text. Put that on the strength panel. Make it right, strength. And then we will need 2 buttons, right? Button. And then duplicate that. Right. This would be, well, let's go ahead and text. This would be up. All right. So then now I can just duplicate that 2 times, right? And just change the names of these so they make sense. Is that right? that. All right, it doesn't look perfect, right? And there are ways of cleaning that up. And if I could figure out why my text looks like that, it's weird. I mean, I might have to figure that out. That's bugging me. But you'll notice that these button sizes are affected by the amount of text here, right? I'm going to let y'all play with that, right? I want y'all to play with this layout and see what you can do to perfect it, right? But the auto layout tools are useful, but they take a lot of playing with. You have to get used to them. And there's so many things you can do with it that really have to you just have to do it, dive in and do it to get used to it. What it does help with is if you're pushing to multiple platforms on different screen sizes, there are ways of using the auto layout tools to make your job easier, right? Because if you have to create 3 different UI layouts, that is, labor intensive. And if you can figure out how to use these tools correctly, you can save yourself a lot of work. All right, so we have the layout here. Any questions so far? All right. I know this. Let's see. So at this point, if you hated that color, right, you can select all the panels, and you come in here and you can make it completely transparent, right? In fact, you could take the parent panel and make it transparent as well. That's up to you and what you're planning on creating, right? All right. Let's create a game manager, because what we need to do now is kind of hook these things up, right? So let's go into assets. We'll create a scripts folder. And create game manager. And we'll open that up. Note that my text no longer has the blocks around it. It's like I had something selected that was. That's weird. What? That's what it was. What? uh, yeah. That's weird. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't understand. Why would that do anything? I don't know. Yeah, I'm at a loss to explain that one, but I had never seen that before, and it's gone now. You'll find that Unity will do that to you, right? Things just kind of they'll break and then they'll fix themselves, and you don't know why. That's weird. All right. So anyway, let's open our game manager script here. All right. So what do we need here? We have 3 properties, right? And we could have more properties in that, right? So we need a function that's going to change the values of these on screen, right? Up and down. And we probably want to create one function that'll do that for all of them, right? Because if we had 10 properties having 10 functions, and if you had up and down for both, that's 20 functions. We don't want to do that. So we probably want to create a function that can take a string that tells you what value to change and then how much to change it. Right? So we're going to say, let's see, public void modify property or something, right? And we'll say string prop and then int mod. I think I can say mod. Mod is a keyword in some languages, actually. But in C# and most of the C languages, the mod is the symbol of that, right? So, but there are languages where mod is spelled mod. Actually, did it just show up? No, it didn't. All right, that's good. All right, so we're going to take a string and we're going to modify that property based on the string, right? And we'll call this when we click on one of the buttons, right? So let's write this function, right? What we change, well, we first need some actual properties up here, don't we? Right, so we'll say public int strength int dex public int. Right, so we can't call it int. That's one thing about that. You can't use int, right, for obvious reasons. Well, we could use. It might be confusing. You could use like that, right? Obviously, you can't use int lowercase because it's a keyword. We just use it right there, right? All right, so. we need points left as well, right? Public int points left, right? And let's see. We're going to base what we change, which property we change, on what we pass in here with the string, right? So we're going to say switch, right, prop. Remember, a switch is just like a shorthand for a bunch of if-else statements, right? We'll say case. We'll use lowercase here, right? And I always make the cases empty to start with because it's simpler that way. So it's literally doing nothing at this point. I just get the form filled out first, right? All right, so we have all three of our cases, right? And the way we're going to handle this, right? So the int mod could be plus or negative, and that way it handles both the up and down buttons, right? The plus or minus buttons. So strength, we'll say str plus equals mod. Alright. And then we'll do that for dex as well. Dex plus equals mod. And then int. Alright. Let's see. Let's just call this, we don't have any output yet, but since these are public integers, we should be able to see them change in the inspector. So let's just see that. So we'll just do one of them for now. We'll get the strength. Right. And this is probably should say up button. Right. All right, so there's no action here, so we're going to say up. First, we need to put the game manager on a game manager object, which we have not done. So create an empty game object. Call it game manager, not manger. It's Christmas time. All right, manager. Stick it up here. Game manager script. If I could aim. There we go. All right. All right. So now back to the button. Up button. All right. Game manager. What? That was the wrong game manager, I think. Yes, I got to get this. I thought it was on the scene, but it wasn't. All right. There we go. Did I not save my file? What? All right, so some reason it's not showing up. you used to be able to send 2 properties. I'm gonna take one of these out and see if it shows up. But you see the problem, right? Modify prop is not showing up here. It is public. File is saved. I'm just gonna pass one parameter and see if that shows up. Of course, that's crap. All right. I'm gonna turn all these 1 real quick because they're. All right. I just want to see if this fixes it. Yep, it did. All right, crap. You used to be able to pass 2. I don't know why that is the case now. What this means, though, we will have to have 2 functions, right? So we'll have to have one that adds, right, increments, and one that decrements. So what we're going to do here is say rename, say, increment property. All right. And I've already taken care of this by doing the 1. And what we'll have to do, I'm going to just copy that. And I have increment and decrement. Is that clear? I swear you used to be able to pass 2 properties. They changed something. I swear I've done that before. Anyway, all these have to be changed to minuses, right? All right. So we're on the plus here, strength. And manager, increment property. And then you just have to pass in the string that you want to change, right? In this case, it's going to be strength. Right? All right. The down, do essentially the same thing. Decrement. Put that in there. All right. Do I have everything I need? All right, so we're not actually modifying this in code yet, but we should be able to, if we click on the game manager and run it, we should be able to see the strength go up and down, right? So let's see. I'm going to cross my fingers because it's Monday. Go here. All right. So you see strength is going up. That's good. And it's going down. But you will notice that it will go below 0. So we have to catch that, right? You have to catch things like that because you don't want that to happen in your game, obviously. But the button's working, right? All right, that's a good time to ask if there's questions about any of that. If I'm going too far, too fast, yeah, you put a button on where you. Yeah, you put a button. I missed that comment. I'm not sure what that was in reference to. Are the lag okay? Any major lag? Everybody up with me? All right, I can throw this code in our code folder real quick. Here, create a new folder. so you can open that. Cool. All right. I'm not going to go for the intelligence and dexterity. You just repeat that process. Does that make sense? I won't have to walk through those steps right now because I want to get to the points left part. HP and XP, they will be set they'll be set directly, obviously, some other way. XP was at the beginning be 0, and hit points would be based on however the rules of the RPG are set out, right? Usually based on character class and armor class and all that kind of thing. But the points left are the thing we need to work on now, because obviously you're supposed to be allocating these points and you only have a certain number, and you shouldn't be able to allocate more points than you have, and once you're out of them, it should stop you from allocating them. Excuse me. All right. So we already have a points left variable, right? And we do need to display these things as well. Let's do that first, right? Because I haven't done that. So we need, let's see, public, we got to do this real quick. We need to display stuff in the UI, so we have to say using Unity engine.ui. All right. So now we have these integers, which are the actual values. We need display, what the hell? All right, public text display, or we could just say text, I guess. String. Right. Public text public text text. All right, and then in each one of these, right, we're going to say text equals stir to string. That's a little bit of typing here. This is where programming can become tedious, right? And there may be a quicker way of doing this, actually, but right now I'm just doing it old school, right? Oh, man. All right, and then text. All right, and now I'm going to be cheesy and do this a little less typing, right? By stealing these lines from up here. If we had done one of these functions fully to start with, you could have copied the whole function, but if I copy the whole function now, I have to change all those pluses to minuses, which may have been quicker, right? But, yeah. All right. So now, we should have a display anyway. Oh, crap. Now this is where I run into the issue. Remember when I said we were just going to concatenate this label with the actual variable, right? At this point, we are running into that. We're going to run into the issue. Well, I'll show you, right? Does anybody know what the issue is going to be? With the way I'm writing it here. Well, you'll see in a second. All right, so watch. Well, first issue is I haven't connected those values with things on the screen, so I got to do that first. Then you'll see the other issue, right? So string text is, crap. Now let me go label these so that I actually name these so I can tell what they are, right? All right. All right. Now you'll see what the issue is, right? Come in here, click that. Ta-da! What happened? You lose the label, right? That will be one reason for having a separate label and text object, right? That way the label didn't go anywhere. But as I said, I was planning on coding the label, which there are reasons not to do that, right? But because I'm being lazy right now. If you don't want to do it this way, then by all means you can create a separate object in each one of these that's just for the value itself, right? Right now, I've got six more lines of code to modify, right? Because I have to do this, which would mean I didn't have to do the toString because I could just say like that, right? Space, right? Plus. I'm gonna copy that. Again, I'm gonna be lazy. So we got to go in here and do this each time, right? Yeah, sometimes programming is tedious, right? And I try to avoid tedium like this, but sometimes it's unavoidable. The more you do this, the more you go, is there a better way of doing it, right? And sometimes there is. Sometimes there isn't. All right, so that should keep our labels in place. Oh, I didn't connect those buttons yet. All right, so I'm gonna leave that to you to do, right? But anyway, so the labels are there. It seems to be working. Note that as the number gets larger, because of the auto layout, right? It actually squeezes your button. We don't want that, and we'll look at ways of modifying that maybe Wednesday, right? Let's get it working for the most part. Today and Wednesday, maybe we can tweak that a little bit. By Wednesday, I'd like you to have your projects, if you don't have questions, that's fine, but work on them enough, maybe you have a question or two then. All right, anyway, so the points left, we'll still work on that. All right. points left. We'll start with, we'll say, let's see, we have 3 properties. And I don't know what the maximum is going to be for any one property. We'll just say 20 for now, right? So we'll give them, I don't know, 30 points maybe to start with. Let's see. I'll be right back. I have to use the bathroom. All right. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. See, you put it all right. Okay. So we have 30 points left. So every time we increment a property, right, we're taking points away from our pool of points. And every time we decrement, we're doing the opposite. So let's do that first, right? So when we increment, we say points left, right, minus equals 1. And when we decrement, we're doing the opposite. Points left plus equals 1. And there's issues with that too, right? So let's just, we need a points left display, don't we? Public text, what? Text. Text equals left. And we need that down here too. Anybody I foresee an issue with that. This is one case where, as I said when I did this here, right? Once I added this, this is one case where it will implicitly convert it because I'm adding, because you concatenate it with a string. Yeah. When I did this down here, I mentioned that I could have gotten away with not doing this if I had done that first, right? So this is actually not necessary because I did that, right? Anyway, that's not the biggest issue really. So we'll see here in a second. Oh, I didn't display the points left to start with. So that's the issue, right? And something else is going. Oh, I didn't reference this stupid thing. All right, I'm just trying to go too fast here. Points left text has to be referenced, and I didn't. Where is it? Points left. All right. This is why you should name things when you create them. Points left text. Now, actually, let's go ahead. And I know it's not going to show up when you start, so we're going to say. We'll just put that in the start function. All right. Zero. Huh. They keep changing how these things work. All right, so the points left is set at 30 here, but the inspector apparently is overriding and turning it to 0 because it's set 0 here. So what we're going to do is take that out of there. Put it there. The inspector didn't used to override this automatically unless you changed it in the inspector, but now it apparently does. So Unity is always a moving target. All right, so now points left is 30. All right. You can't subtract from there. So the issue is, we can still go negative, and it gives us points even when we go negative, right? And let's see. I haven't connected those, right? Obviously, once we get negative there, points left goes under 0, right? So both of those things have to be accounted for, right? So if we can solve those before we check out here today, we'll be going good. All right, so when you click a button, it needs to immediately check a couple things, right? If you click the up button, right, you need to make sure that there's points left to take from, right? Make sure the pool is not empty, right? And so let's do that first, right? So we're going to wrap this everything in this function, right? If the points left is 0, the clicking the button should do absolutely nothing, basically, right? So we're going to wrap the whole logic of this function up in one if statement, right? We're going to say if points left, would say is less than 1. And we'll put a curly bracket there and come down here and put a curly bracket there, and then everything is in there, All right, so I try to increment something and I don't have any points left. It shouldn't do anything now. So let's just check that out. So we're going to strength. That's odd. Nah, then my logic's screwed up. It's greater. It should be greater than 0, right? All right, that was stupid. That's Monday logic. All right, that means it's anything other than 0, right? Or above, it's got to be above 0. It'll let you do that. I was doing the opposite of what I was actually trying to do. All right. Now, there we go. So we just keep testing that. All right, so that's good. That works. That's what we want. Now we'll go down. We'll decrement, and we'll see the other. That's the opposite end of it, right? So now we have to do that side of it, right? And once again, there's getting to the tedium, and if anybody wants to rethink how I'm doing this and come up with a more elegant solution, right? Hey, extra points, right? So before we, let's see. All right, so we know here, yeah, we're going to increment a property. As long as there's points left, we do that, right? It's decrement, we don't want to go below 0. Oh, man. All right, so trying to think of the best way of doing this. How did I do it before? All right. All right, the issue here is we have to test each one of these properties to make sure it doesn't go below 0, much like we did here. Right? The thing is, if we don't decrement it, we can't add a point here. So this has to be moved somewhere else, probably. Right. All right. So there's bound to be a better way of doing this, but damn it. Well, this is one case where I might do this all in one line, right? Because it's just going to be simpler. If is greater than 0. All right. And we do this for each one of these. If that makes sense. to the points left, we'll see the issue. Did everybody see the anybody see the issue? Problem is we're adding this before we check to see if we can, right? So we'll see. You'll see the problem here in a second. All right. All right. So what's going to happen, right? We're going to get down. It's going to stop the strength number from going down, or it should, right? But look at the points left, keep going up. Because we're adding that before we're testing it, right? Which is not what we want at all. Right? So we're almost there, but got a little more to do. So, I mean, the only option really is to take this out, cut it, and then we're going to have to do a multiple line thing here, right? Like that. Hopefully this makes sense. All right. I will throw this code. Save this. All right. One more time. All right, so we have 30 points left. We can't go down. That's good. We can go up. That's weird. Okay, there's something wrong with my logic there. You might see what that is. Why is it doing that? All right. So it's not taking one away. Actually, all right. That's weird. So when it's 1, that's weird. I'm missing something there. Maybe y'all can figure it out. It's close. I don't know. My Monday brain. Well, now it's back to. That's weird. A decremented. I have to figure that out. Anyway, not sure why it's doing that. I'm missing something. There's a hole in my logic somewhere. If y'all can find it, hey, help me out. Are there any questions so far other than why I'm, screwing it up somewhere? Do you see where the hole? There's a hole in my logic somewhere, and I'm not seeing it. Yeah, I hate flailing around because that doesn't make any sense. You're talking about where at less than or equal to? Yeah, I know, but I don't know why. I don't see. I mean, because you don't want it to decrement if it is at zero. I mean that's logically that doesn't make any sense. So there's something wrong. So you know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. I mean there's something I'm missing something somewhere because that this if statement should be correct. So there's something else that I'm missing somewhere else. I think, but I don't know what it is. I'm missing it. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Anyway, look it over. Maybe figure out what I'm doing wrong. But we will. Where are we at? By next time, hook up the other buttons, right? And I'll go over that. I'll finish that up next time as well. Hopefully, I'll figure out what I'm doing wrong and correct it. If somebody else figures it out before me, by all means, email me and tell me where I screwed up because I'm not seeing it right this second. But work on your projects. If you have any questions by Wednesday, that would be great, and we can discuss those. Any questions other than why I'm screwing things up? All right. And if you want to clean up the auto layout so it doesn't look screwed up, that'd be cool too. And I'll come up with a better plan for that as well. I missed the button part. Will this video be up? You missed the button part. What do you mean? But yeah, it will be, but not till Wednesday. Late morning. Oh. We just get buttons. Are you talking about the auto layout part? Well, that's the auto layout part. Yeah. Yeah, the video will be up. I mean, it won't be till after the Wednesday class, but Wednesday's when I go in and I can upload stuff because these videos are too long to upload from my country internet. Yep. All right. Any other questions? All right. Well, it's been fun. If you don't have any other questions or concerns, you're free to go because I'm done for the day or the morning. I'll see most of you. I think I'll see all of y'all tomorrow. So, yep. You too.